A very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for making time again for this edition of the evening review. My name is Toibo Njabela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Michael Amushelelo. He is an activist who this week has written a letter to the Minister of Works and Transport, Veikko Nekundi, challenging the Minister's directive to install speed humps just north of the city along the B1 road. Michael is here to explain to us his discontent around that project. Thank you very much, my brother. Welcome to the platform.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
A long minute.
Yeah, it's been a long minute. Absolutely. You've written a letter to Veikko Nekundi. If you can summarize what you said in that letter to him.
Okay, so basically, in summary, is to say that Namibia is a country governed by a set of laws and set of acts. Now, the Road Traffic and Transport Act of 1999 is very clear. Where there is a freeway, it's called a freeway for a reason, or it's called a highway for a specific reason. It simply means that traffic on a highway should move freely. Hence the word free. Perhaps many people don't understand why there is the free in the way. So now, by installing this speed humps, you can no longer call it a freeway. Now, over the years, due to the significant amount of casualties that we've experienced on the B1, especially road users coming from this side of Katutura, crossing to the northern side where there are industries obviously going to work, we have seen accidents. I personally have called to say that there must be interventions to be done, and we never thought these interventions would lead to even more severe problems. So what must be done and what is clear in terms of the Traffic Act, you cannot put speed humps on a freeway. The law is very clear on that. The only time one is allowed to install speed humps is in residential areas, near schools, near populated areas such as shopping malls and things of that sort, where traffic naturally slows down. But on a freeway, what's currently happening, and I'm sure the media has been reporting about this, some of us experience it on a daily basis because I live in Brakwater. So I frequently use this piece of highway. So now with the speed humps installed, it's a nightmare getting into and out of town. If I now knock off 4 o'clock, by the time I reach the freeway, there's a queue stretching from here. It's like, I'm not sure if you've seen the crossing between Mexico and the US border.
In movies only.
It's the similar. And this is because of the speed humps. So in that letter, we're simply asking the minister to say, please kindly remove those speed humps you have placed in the road. If there is no money to construct a bridge right now, bring back the patrols that were there. Because when the patrols were there, traffic was not as it is right now, where you have to be in the queue for an hour or 2 hours just for you to get home. So if they don't have the money to build pedestrian bridges, to fence off the freeway in order to prevent people from crossing, and I think they've done a brilliant job in Okahanja. You see, with that new freeway, I always wondered what that wall was for. But now that you realize that there's no accidents being recorded that side, you can clearly see it's because there is that wall that prevents people from jumping onto a highway where you would ordinarily have vehicles moving at a speed of 120 kilometers and so forth. So we're asking the minister by tomorrow, 12 o'clock, to have those things removed. Failure for him to remove those things, unfortunately, will be forced to approach the High Court on an urgent basis in order for the High Court to give us an interdict to prevent the minister, number one, from installing future speed humps, and number two, to have the current ones removed. So that's all we're asking the minister to do. So instead of long, lengthy exchanges of papers in court and punitive costs, because they will have to pay the cost of this legal challenge, this thing can simply be avoided by removing that and putting the measures that were in place that were working perfectly.
The people who installed those things practically is actually Roads Authority. Why is everyone gunning for Veikko Nekundi?
No, so the Traffic Act clearly states that the only time the road authority can act is when they've got explicit written permission from the minister. So remember, I cannot go after road authority because who's their custodian?
Yeah.
It is the Minister of Works and Transport. So it is after the minister we must go, because as far as I'm concerned, anything related to road works, it is the duty of the minister. So we cannot go after the small fish. Unfortunately, some of us, we are not used to dealing with small fish, and that is why we're not going after small fish.
Yeah.
We are going after the whale or the shark in order for the problem to be resolved.
Yeah. No, I'm asking just in the context of, it's not even about the fact that you wrote the letter to the minister. I'm simply saying, where was Roads Authority when all this was happening? Because you have the true professionals there, the engineers, the people who are schooled in the area of roads and related infrastructure. And for some reason, the Roads Authority somehow allowed that to happen.
But Toivo, that's what happens when ministers interfere with professionals. You see, the minister is just an appointed someone.
Yeah.
And most of the time we usually appoint cattle headers or the people who clap the most or those who are able to betray others and things of that sort. So that is the people that you usually have. Now, we have a minister here who is on record for having procured 5 million worth of reflectors for animals. Now, you can clearly see we have a minister who is most probably trying to work hard. Because remember, in this administration, it seems to me there is too much competition between ministers. This one is trying to compete so that they can win the spotlight. But here, the minister has unfortunately blundered. Here, he has caused a mistake. Perhaps the road authority, the engineers wanted to suggest something better, but they got overruled because unfortunately, remember, most of these people get appointed through the directives of the minister. And the last thing you would want to do as a Toivo who just wants to bring bread to his kids, you will definitely say what your higher authorities do. So in this case, the higher authorities were wrong. Let engineers do what they do best, engineering. And I think this is where we must strike a fine balance between politics and professionalism. Right now, for me, this is pure politics. We have a minister who perhaps gave the wrong directives, or perhaps who just out of wanting to seem like he's doing something. Because sometimes, Toivo, you want to be seen doing something, but you are doing absolutely nothing. And this is what the minister has done. In this case, he has done nothing. He's only causing more harm. In fact, there's been over 3 or 4 accidents already just as a result of those speed humps. And I got contacted yesterday by one of the complainants whose car was bumped on the freeway. Unfortunately, their insurance said that they're not going to compensate for that. And you know very well, insurance have got legal terms and technicalities on how not to pay for certain things of that sort. So we are not saying that we are against the measures to safeguard lives. All we're saying is that safeguarding lives must not come at the expense of other lives being put in danger.
Yeah. Before we go for a small break, Veikko Nekundi, some people would argue that he has been displaying signs of a minister who likes doing things. In other words, he's a doer. He doesn't like bureaucratic delays. He issues instructions and says, "I want this done tomorrow," and the next day things are up and running. Do you think that can also be his own enemy, that attitude?
Absolutely. You see, sometimes, Toivo, you need to think thoroughly through. And the reason why it's important to think things thoroughly through is because you sometimes have good intentions, but those good intentions, if you do not think them thoroughly through, they somehow have a way of causing unintended consequences. Perhaps in the minister's good thinking and well wishes to the Namibian people was to say that the speed humps were obviously to prevent accidents. But due to that, unfortunately, well thought out execution, it is causing now more harm, not only to road users, but also to pedestrians. Because the problem that I'm now foreseeing is that once you're in that queue for 30 minutes, and after you have gone through those speed humps, Toivo, now because you feel you are late, you are now forced to drive a bit faster than usual to make up for the time that is lost. Now, for me, who has the ability to think of consequences, that is going to possess a serious danger, not only to road users, but also to pedestrians. Because remember, it's not only there where they've put the speed humps that pedestrians cross. Pedestrians cross all the way until that bridge of Elisenheim. And in fact, even further, because if you go to the area of Mix, where do we think the residents of Mix usually cross the road? So those things must be well thought of. We must be able to say, let's design pedestrian bridges. Let's ask our young people from the VTCs, let's ask our young unemployed people to come together. And then if they need manpower, some of us are more than ready to volunteer so that we can cut the cost of labor in order for us to have safe crossing for our people.
Absolutely. We go for a very short break and return with Michael Amushelelo. We are talking to Michael Amushelelo about that protest letter that is written to Transport Minister Veikko Nekundi. Now, where I see the challenge with your letter, and as good intended as it is that you are going to have a minister also that, because this will be, if Nekundi was to remove those things, whether by his own volition or by order of court, it is going to cost him politically. Some political capital will be lost because you want to be. You thought you are a minister doing what is good, and it gains you some admirers, and now the opposite will happen.
No, I think if he's a true leader, then true leaders can be corrected. True leaders have the humility to accept that, you know what, perhaps here we messed up, perhaps this was a wrong judgment, perhaps this was something that we did not anticipate the consequences. So he must take it as it is, and we're not taking anything away from him or anything of the sort. All we are trying to say is to say that, Minister, here you did not do such a good job, but we understand what your intentions were. The intentions were noble. But like I said, noble intentions also some way have a way of having unintended consequences if they are not well thought of. So we're not here to say, Toivo, usually I call for ministers to be fired. Usually I would say, let's go protest. So I've written him the courtesy letter to say, please have these things removed. Failure for you to remove them. Unfortunately, we are forced to approach the courts in order for the courts to vindicate whether the minister has transgressed against the Transport and Road Act that is in place.
Yeah. Of course, there are also costs. So it's not a matter of just being humble and say, look, I misjudged this whole thing. I'll reverse it, because even removing those things will still cost money.
Yes.
And those materials that are there have cost money. So it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, but Toivo, the beauty with those speed humps is that unlike the traditional ones that are built, these ones are screwed in. So that simply means that we can unscrew the speed humps and then put them at areas that are needed. There are streets there in Katutura where people drive like maniacs. People are complaining constantly to say, City of Windhoek, come and install speed humps. Yeah. They are not doing anything. So the minister then in a goodwill can then say, fine, I'm conceding, I'll remove these things, and then we can donate them to other towns. I mean, it's not only in Windhoek that speed humps are needed. There are other towns, smaller towns, where in residential areas there are no speed humps. So these are national assets. So these national assets can be deployed elsewhere. It's not like a physical structure that has been built on the road. It is just something that has been temporarily affixed, and you can clearly see that it's something temporary. That's why they use screws, and that's why they didn't build your traditional speed humps that would naturally see in our residential areas and things of that sort.
Yeah. Do you think there's a minister, any minister in this country, that will reverse their decisions on the demand or even the request of a man like Michael Amushelelo? Because ministers would think, okay, my boss is the president. If the president says I should undo this, I can do that. But if he's just an activist, an opposition activist for that matter, that will amount to me succumbing to opposition demands. Do you think we are at a level where people can look past politics and say, look, we'll do it?
We're hoping that that would be the case, because then that sets a good precedence for governance. Remember, opposition doesn't necessarily always seeing that we're opposing. It's just us saying that perhaps something was not done properly. Let's correct it. Let's do things in the interest of Namibia. You see, I think people like to take things personal, and that is the biggest problem. As leaders, we're not here to take anything personal. We're here to serve our people, irrespective of which line you are towing, but the ultimate goal should be that whatever it is that we intend to do must be for the benefit of society and the people that we are leading. So I think here they've got a good opportunity that has presented itself. I always tell people that even in chaos, there's opportunities that present themselves. So here the minister is more than welcome to take this opportunity and use it to his own good advantage. So it depends on how he wants to do it. Yeah. Does he want to do it the easy way, or does he want to do it the hard way? So the ball is literally in his court, and that's why he has until tomorrow 12 o'clock in order for him to reverse that decision that was taken.
Did you receive any response from the minister?
No, I've not yet received any response, but hopefully maybe he's looking at the clock and he's thinking that he still has time. Yeah. So, I mean, I've given him until 12, so it would be now unfairly of me to expect a response before on that time. So even if he responds tomorrow at 12 o'clock or a minute past 12, then I would be more than happy to say that, okay, fine, thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was President Bahamba who was in the papers not too long ago, where he was actually urging SWAPO leaders to say, look, where a good suggestion comes from the other side of the political divide, please embrace it. Yes. Same as what, was it O.R. Tabo who said, we must speak truth even when that truth coincides with what the enemy is saying. Yes. So I think it would be good if things can be looked at that way. In terms of, I mean, you are a man that is always in trouble with law, in court and all that. You would know that there's a term that is called locus standi, which is sort of the legitimacy with which you can bring
the case. Yes.
Yeah. So, what is your locus standi to drag Veikko Nekundi to court?
Like I said, I'm the resident of Brakwater. I'm sure you have seen my beautiful house. I call it the White House. So, if the court wants to see where I live, if the court wants to see what is my mode of transportation, if the court wants to see how it is that I get into town, then by all means necessary, I'm willing to prove that to the court. So this thing is not just a nuisance to other road users. It's a nuisance to me. And that is why I've taken the honors, because it's affecting me. I get stuck now 2-3 hours just in traffic. In fact, now I must divert my normal driving and drive roads that I would intentionally not intend to drive. And that for me, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate thing, but it's not only to me, but it's also to other road users. And in fact, I was very much surprised. Our white counterparts that usually do not see an eye with me have been calling me, and they've been saying that we are more than ready to support you with this court case. So that simply just says that this particular thing is not just a thing that's affecting me, but it's also affecting other road users. And if by any means necessary, I don't have the locus standi to obviously bring this matter in court, then we are more than welcome to bring what is called class action, which is basically a group of people that have been aggrieved that approach the court for a particular issue that they feel aggrieved with. So we're more than prepared to take that route as well. But for now, I think I have the locus standi, seeing that I frequently use this particular road. It's the road that I use to get to my house. It's the road that I use to get into town when I need my essentials and when I need my supplies. So I'll definitely have a standing to take this matter on.
Yeah. Last question to you, Mr. Amushelelo. Did you just win a case today in court? You and Dimblogeni Nauyama about that incarceration. Yeah, I saw Kadila Amamo posting that that you guys have won the case.
Yes, we've won the case. However, we're waiting for the full judgment in order for us to study the case and see that maybe we must appeal because we feel the money that we're being awarded is not enough. But we'll see. But unfortunately, yes, today we did win a case. But that case, for me, it's a case where we are saying that our fundamental rights must never be tampered with. Because these are rights that were fought for. Remember, on the 21st of March, we did nothing illegal. All we said was we wanted to protest peacefully, but we were denied that right. And when we were told to go home, we were followed, we were harassed, we were brutalized, we were arrested, and all in the name of trying to intimidate young people for standing up for what is right. So that thing, we must not move back to the past where it was illegal for people to come together, it was illegal for people to gather, it was illegal for people to associate, it was illegal for people to protest against the wrongs of the government of the day. So we must never move backwards. Yeah. In fact, this judgment serves as a reminder to all social justice activists to say that what our causes are, and for as long as we are doing them peacefully, we can do protest as much as we want.
Yeah, but the money is not... so what you got from the court doesn't go into figures yet, or is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily.
Or you got awarded something that you're not happy with?
Not necessarily. For me, it was never about the money. For me, it was saying that we must not revert back to the old system. Remember, if we just quickly go into the merits of this case, we were 3 that were arrested. 2 people were granted bail. I, for some reason, was denied bail, despite the fact that we all had the same charges. I had applied for bail at the magistrate court. I was denied. I took the matter to the High Court. 2 High Court judges sat and looked at this case. And then they said, no, you have got no grounds to appeal, while there was no prima facie case. So that simply tells us that if we have a judicial system that now succumbs to the whims of politicians, then we are living in a dangerous society. Yeah. And that is why the outcome of this judgment is to remind judicial officers that they should never meddle in political affairs. This was a politically motivated arrest, and the court should have seen that, and the court should have treated it as such. But in fact, the court failed, and that is why I was incarcerated for 7 months.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, thank you for making time. We appreciate your coming around.
It's always a pleasure to have.
Yeah, wonderful. That is Michael Amushelelo talking about those speed humps that have caused a lot of commotion among Namibians and Windhoek residents in particular. And thank you for watching.